I'd like to also bring in Rajdeep Sardesai on this broadcast. Rajdeep, we're putting our details that we've picked up on what really transpired in the cabinet meet. Prime Minister Modi's communicated that there's absolutely no political motive behind one nation, one election. The opposition, of course, has questioned it. What do you think, Rajdeep? Reading the draft, do you think this in any way undermines federalism?
You know, Akshita, on paper, this is a fine idea. The idea that you can save revenue by having an election once every 5 years appears very, very alluring. But the fact is, it's also fanciful. There is a bit of a kite flying in this because to answer your specific question on the federal spirit, this is a country now, unlike the 1950s, where you have so many parties, hyper-competitive elections, so many regional parties emerging, each of whom have their local issues, their local interest groups, their local elites. And I don't think that they are completely willing to surrender what they believe is their autonomy in terms of election cycles to Delhi. This is not just about BJP. Tomorrow it could be a Congress government or any other government at the center. States do not want to, in India, surrender their autonomy entirely to Delhi. So while this idea sounds very good, I think it is possibly at the moment anti-federal, but more importantly, impractical given the number of stakeholders with varying views on it. So it will require a lot of consensus building, and maybe a midway approach will have to be found, where maybe every 2.5 years you do state elections in particular parts of the country, then do your general elections and have some kind of a cycle that is a little bit more feasible. I mean, look at the irony of it, Akshita. We've got the election commission not holding elections in Maharashtra because they said they want to focus on Haryana and J&K. And now we are talking of elections across India's 29 states. So I think there's a lot of work that still will need to be done before we can arrive at some kind of a possible compromise on one nation, one election.
You're right, Rajdeep. It's a very ambitious target that they're talking about. It's also a very, very complex one. So it will need a larger, perhaps well-oiled machinery to be able to actually pull it off as well. So perhaps that's why you're seeing them already starting off work right away on this, because now that they've said they want to complete this within this term, they'll want to push forward in the years to come as well. Rajdeep, thank you very much for joining us with your view on one nation, one election. It's clearly going to be a talking point in the months to come as well, as the Modi government says that we'll bring this into Parliament in the coming winter session itself. We'll see how that plays out, because the opposition has made it very, very clear that they're not on board with one nation, one election.